So toxic people. How many people have been exposed to the
Next question.
next question. Next question.
That's seriously a topic for like its own.
But why not?
special
Why not talk
podcast.
about it? Everybody experiences it. What was the most toxic relationship you've been in? Now, I'm not saying relationship as in mother, father, any sort of like human relationships.
Could be a friendship,
Boss, even coworker. Yeah, what kind of, what's the
most toxic.
most toxic that you remember? Or
And
significant?
listen, we're gonna share the mic, and you're gonna share the mic.
Yeah.
All right, Mama. So you get it down in the middle there.
Can you,
Or whoever wants to talk, gotta lean in there. This motherfucker don't work.
okay, good. Okay, it don't move. The mic, it don't move.
You want
This is
to
as far as
go
it can
first
go.
on this?
So
I'm
you gotta
drawing a blank.
But it's just gonna get dark. It's gonna get dead.
Here's the thing.
My life is dark.
Honestly.
That's where the money is.
That is,
That's where the
isn't that really human?
I don't do
what the problem
non-dark
is?
stuff.
Human beings.
She just drops the bomb now, but she's gonna leave in 5 minutes.
Totally my plan. Fuck. How did you see that?
Yeah.
We're gonna stick this one out because this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think
It's tough to talk about.
it's tough, but it's important.
Yeah,
But those are the best. Those are they're the most. I mean, what you want to talk about rainbows and unicorns?
Rainbow,
I mean,
rainbow, unicorn. I can talk about unicorn
yeah,
and rainbow.
but that's boring. So okay, so toxic relationship and how you dealt with it, or if you're still healing, whatever, maybe you didn't get over it. That's okay.
No. I don't know. My heart is beating now, so maybe I am not over it. But
See, this is the thing. This is some sensitive shit.
You're not alone.
Like, when you think about those toxic relationships, your heart starts to beat.
Yes,
You're like, oh fuck, I'm having palpitations.
For me, literally
I'm
every
being
day.
sucked back into
Literally
the psychological cycle.
I just want to open up with saying, because I'm not sure with any concrete example, but I think a thought that's been in my head a lot recently. I think that one of the biggest problems is that we grow up on all these cartoons and movies where there's this backlit evil villain. It's really obvious,
Simplified.
right? That they're evil, and then you go out in life and the evil, so to speak, in the world it's never clear cut, right? It's never obvious and easy to spot. It's always it's buried in this under
You
these
have to figure it out.
it's under these layers of
you have to figure
you
it
see
out.
someone who's actually toxic and a bad influence, but it'll be shrouded in this cloud of manipulation and pity, and then you'll empathize with the person, right? Because
you're an empathetic person.
and they're also a person, right?
Okay.
It's never fully evil or
But
fully
they're-
bad. They're
That's-
also human beings.
You know,
yeah, but there's
you're
people
right.
that are fucking heartless. They exist. I'm telling you, I'm 37. I didn't believe it. I read in my journal 10 years ago, literally read it, and I was like, people are great, and we need to... Oh my God, I was so fucking naive. No, there are some people you need to protect yourself from, and it's important to be able to recognize the red flags and connect with yourself, because somewhere along the lines, all of us were taught to disconnect and not trust our intuition, because how many of you guys have looked back and be like, fucking listen to myself. You knew it. That's you betrayed your intuition. We need to connect with that, and we can protect ourselves better.
I don't
from
know,
these
man.
motherfuckers, because they exist.
All right, okay. I'm gonna
It's not
take.
a utopia.
How old are you now?
37.
All right. Speaking as a 40-year-old, I reckon in the last few years, what I've discovered is it's very easy to say those things and say that there are people out there who are completely heartless, and I was naive to think otherwise. But when you reframe and look at those people who are the ones you said were heartless, and you see something behind their heartlessness that demystifies them from being a complete fucking evil entity to a supremely flawed but human being.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's like you go from treating that person as a disease to treating that person as a caution.
I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean?
agree with that. I agree with that. But like for example, okay, do you know? Have you what?
There's two people who want to make a
Okay,
point.
let me just.
But you go first and then
Okay,
you,
okay.
yeah?
Okay. Recent. I don't know if you're into crime, but there is
Into what?
there
Sorry.
crime. There's some people like Jodi Arias or like Ted Bundy, but that's like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
when I was
yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But like, you know,
Seriously fucked up people.
There are people, and they fucking annoy me, and I understand.
Ted Bundy annoys you?
No, not
Yeah,
Ted
like
Bundy.
the-
He's dead. He's dead already.
Sounds like the
Serial
wrong
killers?
word.
No,
Sounds like the wrong word to use for Ted Bundy.
I
'cause,
I
like,
just said Ted Bundy as one, but I said
But
I
who
distinctly said that was 10 years ago.
Okay.
Jodi Arias, for example.
Who annoys you?
Jodi Arias, for example.
And who?
She is one of those that literally she's the girlfriend that got so jealous at ex that she fucking killed her boyfriend, like slit his throat in the most gruesome way, and then on court
people
was
who-
lying and was like, he's a pedophile, he was abusing.
Yeah.
So those are kind of people that I'm like, they really exist. I'm telling you, like there was a moment in my life where I was like,
Yes,
no,
they do.
we all have to understand.
No,
and
no,
yes,
no, they do,
She
but-
did. She did have. No, okay, she didn't have a horrible life. She didn't. But it's unfortunate she had that brain. She was born with that brain of. You
Of
couldn't-
evil.
You
Are you
couldn't
born
kill.
evil?
Yeah,
Are you born evil?
You
Can
couldn't-
you be born evil?
Can you go and kill? Like if you're pissed off at somebody, can you go and just
Yeah,
kill
but
them?
is that something that
I
is
couldn't
in?
do it.
Yeah, but
she can.
Could you learn to do that?
I'm sure.
If
like,
you had her life, would you have chosen it
no
differently?
way. There's absolutely no way. That's for sure.
That's the thing.
That's for sure.
What do you mean?
There are some people that are born sociopaths, or
If
no,
you-
born psychopaths.
no,
and
but if
they're-
you had her life,
If you had her life, would you have done the same
as
thing?
a sociopath, God, I probably
No,
would.
you can't answer that question because you don't
No,
know.
but
you have
no,
reference
No,
point.
as the reason this is the most I can empathize is because I understand that even my brain, like I have ADD, I have my own. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Wait.
I have ADD. I have my own struggles that I understand that there's things that I do that I'm trying not to be like, but it's
It's
just
an
something.
instinctual thing.
And that's the only way I can try.
But you lived their lives exactly. You would still make different choices because you have an instinct.
Lucky enough to have that sociopathy. Then
So what is that sociopathy?
Sociopathy-
Psychology.
Like,
Is it
that is,
a
you know,
drop
like
from the gods?
okay, like just this is the best example.
All right, okay,
analogy.
wait, Mama. Let's let curse. Don't get no sensitive on me now. Don't get no sensitive. Hey, you see my hand? You see my hand? I'm washing windows. Now Attila's been very patient. Did you want to touch on what we were
I
saying?
wanted to ask a question. I point out something which has just dawned on me. When we say understanding, what we do expect? What do we really mean by it? What do we expect from understanding? Why do we have an expectation which is somehow connected to understanding? Like when talk about, like for me, I just got aware of this now. When I say understanding, it has some positive feeling going on with it. Now the problem or the question is, these two things are very intertwined, I would say, in our mind. And there are situations when we say like understanding a psychopath or understanding someone who. So is there an expectation to feel good about it, or
No.
to feel or not? Because this is one of our
I don't-
internal conflict
I don't feel good.
about empathy.
I can understand, but I don't feel good. It's
Yeah.
hurtful. It's hurtful to think of the person I love who is narcissistic or cannot feel empathy, and I understand that where it came from, and I can't do anything to help. I understand it, but it's painful. Just like that's why I'm fascinated with crime, and that's why I watch these. Because I'm like, how can you have this kind of brain that you can actually hurt somebody and feel good, or like, so that's why it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, but okay, you've said that, but I honestly, and I think you're in my camp, or I'm in your camp a little bit too. I honestly think that there is
something to say about
there is
it,
nothing that's born evil. I think there is a potential map of what you could be in your brain, and everything that comes seeping into your eyes, your ears, your nose, your tongue, and your touch will shape whatever
I think
you are
that's
going to
really
be.
dangerous to think like that. I'm really scared for you.
Really?
Yeah.
That is completely.
I wouldn't say like I would just say it's. I have reached a point in my life where I just know, like, it's important to label something. So when I say evil, I'm not thinking like the Disney, black and white. Like the narcissists, I don't think they're like scheming, like they're just trying to avoid of accountability. So there's understanding of it, but I know that to me it is dangerous. So I back off. I have to know. But there are some people that literally I have seen it and I'm grossed out and I'm disgusted.
Yeah.
It's important to feel that so you can protect yourself. Like, it's like poison.
Yeah.
You smell it. You have to know.
Yeah, but like, could you love the devil? Could you find love for the devil?
Yes, I have.
But that's why you gotta stay away from the devil.
Doesn't mean
because the devil's really fucking lovable. The devil's
He's
so
against
fucking
God.
human. The devil's way more human than God is, right?
Yeah,
I
don't like God. God is very, he's very.
You can relate to the devil more.
He's a dictator. He's actually punishing bad people.
No, because you see a bit of yourself in the devil. You see a lot less of yourself in the God. You see a bit of yourself in the devil.
No, God is very exactly. I don't. God is
inhuman. God is jealous, being so good is
jealous.
That's just in people's minds.
Genocidal.
But everything's in people's minds.
I feel like we're off topic
all
at the
of us
moment.
are inside of people's minds. The only thing we can talk about is stuff that are in people's minds.
Yes.
Everything that comes out of our mouths is stuff that's in people's minds. So it's the only thing we can talk about.
Imagine how empowering is that.
Whoa, sorry.
Imagine that how empowering is that.
What do you mean?
That actually all these things are in our minds.
A collective mindset, though.
No, not a collective.
Yes,
mind.
and that.
That's a different. That's a different realm of discussion. But I'm talking about that. What we just said, like how do I see the devil? How am I seeing the devil in myself in the devil, or God? Why is he like turns out that he's the evil one, or like and,
I'm not religious.
but no, I'm just talking about these connections to these figures.
Human beings.
I would say. Like primal images of values and everything, and it's all in our mind. So like
that's why I wouldn't want to get rid of it.
Can fucking change it.
That's
why when you see
like
people who are trapped in their fucking cages, you're like, you don't have to be like that. You're wasting your fucking life, but it's not my business.
Can I cut in for a second? Yeah. I want to play a little sound grab from a comedian called Bill Hicks. And he sums up exactly what you're talking about, and I want you to listen to it, all right? And let me just bring it up. Why are my headphones suddenly going all funny? Oh, there we go. Can you hear, Mama?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear all
very
loud and clear?
Loud.
Which bit is it?
Here, you know Bill Hicks, right?
Yeah, I know him, but that's why I want to ask.
I'm about to finish this, so I'm going to go.
No, because like, if I know it, I'll go to the bathroom. We can still discuss it, right? Like, that's why I'm asking. No, so I was just going to say, we're talking about like recognizing, so to speak, the evil. I think it's important to distinguish between like
I'm not black and white thinking.
Bad intentions and toxic behavior.
I need chicken wings.
Like when people talk about like evil, I think like what people mostly think about is like bad intentions. They do exist, but I think that's like easier to spot. And I think like the deeper trap that most people will fall into is the people who have good intentions, who want to like be with you, want to be a good influence, but will drag you down with their own impulsive behavior that they have no awareness of and no control
The ones who
over.
think they're right.
I fucking.
The ones who think they're good.
And exactly right. They're not aware. They're not aware of their own behavior. Like that's
actually the most scariest.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually immediately know.
But it's also harder. It's harder to recognize. But it's harder to recognize.
I've seen what I needed to see. Immediately know. Like there's something with God. And I had to go so much shit for me to be so pissed to be like, no, I've seen this shit before. You're not gonna fuck with me. Yeah. Like that's the only reason I would.
Guys, we switched over to split mode because I want to share this little sound bite from Bill Hicks, and I want you to listen to it. And I'm gonna chuck you on and listen to this as well. This touches on this idea about
I don't know, it's already started. It's now been an hour. I might be at the very last. But I just want to see everybody.
Here, put these headphones in. Tuck these headphones on.
What?
The ones on my head. Grab the headphones.
Ah, those ones.
Mama, pass the water. Okay, get over here.
You can
Okay, I'm not gonna do it. All right, I'll come back.
All right, yeah. Come back, baby. Come back. That was good. That was some good shit. We're in a good starter.
We'll share them.
All right. Can you hear it?
Folks, it's time to evolve ideas. Evolution did not end with us growing thumbs. You do know that, right? Didn't end there. We're at the point now where we're going to have to evolve ideas. The reason the world's so fucked up is we're undergoing evolution. And the reason our institutions, our traditional religions are all crumbling is because they're no longer relevant. They're no longer relevant. So it's time for us to create a new philosophy and perhaps even a new religion, you see. And that's okay, because that's our right, because we are free children of God with minds who can imagine anything. And that's kind of our... How do you evolve ideas? I'll give you an example right here. By the way, there are more dick jokes coming. Please relax. I know I'm starting to lose them a little bit here with this shit. I'm like digging a fucking hole right now. And another thing. Where the hell did Bill go? He dug himself right through the planet. I hear people heckling in Chinese right now. Why you don't do dick joke? Do dick joke. Win crowd back. No one wants to hear your philosophy. They want to hear dick joke. Wow, what a completely rational heckler. They pay to hear dick joke, not to hear you talk about the President Bush. Here's how you evolve an idea. I'll give you an example. Why is the drug czar of this country... Well, let's go back. Why do we have a drug czar in this country? A. B, why is he a cop? Why isn't he a guy in recovery who's had an alcohol and or drug addiction and overcome it? And why doesn't he help people with the same problem with compassion rather than condemnation? Why do we put people who are on drugs in jail? They're sick. They're not criminals. Sick people don't get healed in jail. See, it makes no sense. And if we evolve the idea, and something like heaven might dawn. I want everyone here to take the 5 dried grams I taped under your all chairs right now. Under your chairs. Check them out. Check them out. Under your chair. Let's go, man. The fucking UFOs are waiting in the 5th dimension. Let's go! We'll do it later. We'll do it as a closer. Oh, shit. Mushrooms grow naturally on the planet. They're against the law. Marijuana grows naturally on the planet. It's against the law. Do you think making nature against the law seems a bit, I don't know, unnatural?
And that as a future.
Right, and that's why, like, when the conversation started, I kind of wanted to bring in this point of just in general how, like, we're like, in most cultures today, we're brought up with this idea of good and evil.
Yeah.
As something that's straightforward and out there, and I think it would be like really nice if we could let go of good.
So easy to like form that opinion as a shortcut, because if you take the time to find out the reasons behind their behavior and their circumstance, it's too much of a commitment.
Well,
and it's so much easier just to kind of like go, they're just not good, so avoid and treat like shit and judge in that way. Same for psychopaths, same for sociopaths, same for serial killers, same for murderers, same for anyone who acts in a way that seems inhuman. I believe that I hope I'm right, but there must be a reason for that happening.
I do think that
even
like,
if it's just a quirk.
Yeah, but
there's got to be a logic behind it.
So I do think that there definitely is like a strong possibility. You know, some people are just like born with some sort of deficiency, you know, like mentally.
A lack of empathy leads to not caring
whatever.
about somebody else's suffering, and therefore you make someone suffer and care about it. That makes sense.
Yeah, and even like
it's logic though.
Yeah, and some people like might have a life where they come up with you know their born in circumstances where like that gets compensated for with like parenting or whatever. But if it's not compensated, if it's not realized early enough, if it's not whatever, then that'll grow and it'll become negative. So I do think that there is some, you know, if you go nature versus nurture, like before Otavio, who was sitting here, we said that like you don't in the nature versus nurture, you don't have to put the two up against each other. Right, like it doesn't have to be a one versus the other debate. It's
one or the other.
Yeah,
Could it be both?
Yeah, exactly. It's always both. It always is both, right? Like you can argue over the degree or over the specific case, but it always is both. But like one of the things I like to talk about is because I'm a busker, so yeah. Hey. Yeah,
You're a busker, and in what sense? How does that?
Yeah, so I'm full time playing street music, so that's like my only current source of income. So I'm out on the streets all day, every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold that thought. I want to talk to you about this. I know this is going to go off topic.
Okay, off topic. Okay. TM.
All right, just talk to us about how busking is connected to this, but I also want to kind of know a bit more about your busking.
Oh, we can talk about that in a bit, but first I just wanted to say that, like, because I'm like busking and playing street music like every day, you know, I meet a lot of homeless people. I meet a lot of people on the streets who come up to talk, and since I started doing this, a lot of my perception on a lot of these issues changed a lot. Like a while back, I had a friend. He drives an ambulance, and a lot of times they get like called out on homeless people for whatever reason. And what he told me is that like so a lot of society's perception on this is that these are people who are lazy, who don't want to work, who don't want to fit into society. And there might be some truth to that, but what he told me is that like a lot of these people, they basically have like you know, like medical papers that would pretty much prove that they're like incapable of working, right?
Yeah.
And my first girlfriend, when I was like 17 or 18 and got together with my first girlfriend, her mother worked at like the biggest psychiatric institute in Hungary, and that whole place, which was like a small city basically.
Didn't that close down?
It closed down, and they basically let
everyone out in the street.
They let them out on the streets, and most of the people you'll meet at like Silka,
from there.
Manthor or whatever are from there, right? They're people who
have been literally let
right,
out.
And also like in the 90s and everything, like a lot of psychiatric institutes here, they started getting privatized because it was more cost
taken care of by society, but has been flung out and can't think and can't hold down a job and can't think for themselves and have major issues. I would give the money to the latter, to the former. And if the former attitude is justifying me not wanting to be out of pocket or feel bad for not giving, then that's the perception I'm going to embrace, because it's easier to do that.
Yeah, but
and unfortunately, like you said, it's more likely that the latter is the truth. And I've heard this story when I came to Budapest. And I went out on to see the Joker film with Yasmin and David, and this was on our mind when we walked out of I don't know if you've seen the film, but when we walked out, well, it deals with this issue. He's literally a character who is basically cast out in this sense, right? And when we got out on the street, David mentioned, he turned around and he said to me, you know, don't act kind of weird in the streets and don't attract attention, because the streets are filled with people who used to be in a psych ward, but they were released because there was nowhere else to put them.
Yeah.
And they got taken over by nursing homes. They got sold off.
Yeah, exactly.
And from that point on, I started seeing people banging their heads against walls, people shitting themselves in the street, people running around screaming. And it seemed to intensify the more I noticed it. And I was like, fuck, there's a reason for all of this.
And so, like, one thing that, like, so when I first started busking, right? So I really wanted to go full-time with music, and I felt like the quickest way for me to do that was to, like, start generating an income with busking, because that was, like, immediate and reachable. And I was worried because I felt like, you know, there's a lot of beggars, and I thought that, like, they would, like, not like me busking. in these areas because like
You're taken away from...
Exactly. And then like the first thing I realized that they don't think of it like that as all. They don't view it as all as a zero-sum game. Like they like me being there. They like me playing there. They were friendly towards me. They were nice people. They were good people, right? Like they have like most of the times they'd give me money.
Wow.
Right, like I once had a homeless person give me 1,500 forints at Serkamantia. Like that's like food for weeks for him, right? And my perception and experience in regarding this
but that's the
changed
thing.
Dramatically.
Do you think? Okay, so it was the choice of busking on the street that brought you into this world, gave you an insight that has now informed your perception of most people who are on the street as something other than what you thought they were before.
I'm sorry. What was the question? You okay, man?
It was a rhetorical question, I guess. Well, basically, what I'm saying is because you chose to busk in the street.
Most of us are shielded from this. Most of us get to form an opinion without actually having. Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like once you're down there, and once you actually have like contact, like it's.
So how do you treat homeless folks now?
So they do ask me for money all the fucking time.
No, but if you're walking down the street now and someone, a homeless person who you've never met before, comes up and asks you, what's your first instinct?
So I'm definitely so it's not quite black and white because like on one hand, I'm definitely way more empathetic, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like.
Does it change your actions?
That I stop. It definitely changed the way I
tone.
communicate. Yeah, exactly. Because
that's all it takes, though.
Because
that's
like
a good
one
thing.
One thing is that like when you said about like who do I give the money to, and like one thing is that I get asked for money by homeless people dozens of times every day when I'm on the streets, and I can't give everyone money. Right?
You can or you can't?
I can't. I definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I can, but then I don't make a living, right?
Yeah.
Like this is my job, and every single person, no matter how I'm definitely in a better situation than they are.
So it really
right?
is about it. Really is about the status.
And like one thing I realized when I started busking, the poorer someone is, the more likely they are to throw money into your guitar case. Like sometimes like a guy in like a suit and whatever will like walk by dressed all fancy and will throw in like 20 forints, thinking he's like being super fucking gracious to me. And I'm not a home like 20 forints doesn't matter anything to me, right? Like in any other way. But then there'll be like someone who's like obviously more of a working class person, whatever, and they'll stop, listen to my music, appreciate it, and they'll throw in 500. 1,000, 2,000, whatever, and I think it's again more of a question of empathy. And if you're born in harder circumstances where you're more familiar, right, with the struggles of people, then you're more likely to appreciate buskers or people or whatever.
It's insight.
Because they know that like 20 forints isn't anything to me, right? They see it on me that I'm not begging for scraps, so
they
I can
relate
feed
to
myself.
what you value.
But they see that I am like a musician who's like working hard, right, to stay on their feet, which I am.
You're in their territory.
Like,
you're a part of their territory.
Exactly.
You're not in their territory. You're one of the.
And if anything changed, like when you asked like how it, like I think of it like that. I don't think of it like as I have to give them or I don't have to or whatever, but I do think of myself as sort of a part of the ecosystem. Like I'm sharing this
symbiosis.
Exactly. I'm sharing this space with them.
Yeah.
And that doesn't.
And here's the thing: it's a public space.
Exactly.
It's your space. It's their space.
Exactly.
It's not owned. It's owned, but it's for everyone. So.
And that's what I understood, right? That they get this. They get. That
comes a real issue then when it comes to property and barriers and borders and who belongs where. What are you doing? What? Hey, Francis, this has been awesome, man. I think we should continue this.
Yeah, we should take a quick break.
Let's take a break.
And then, exactly.
Even if we do it another time, because, dude, this belongs in its own podcast. What we're
I think it's been cool, man.
Really good talker, man.
Enjoyed it thoroughly.
You're a very, very, very good person to do a conversation with in this style of
thanks,
podcast.
Man.
All right.
I look forward to do it anytime, happily. Yeah.
I think you got it, man. You got it.